Climate change is when, I don't know, you change something in the world with your words.
Climate change is kind of when autumn transforms into winter, I guess.
People are doing bad things in the world and making like ice melt outside or something like that, maybe. Because it's kind of hard to explain.
It is hard to explain. At Grist, we struggle to do it every day. So it's understandable that these kids don't know everything there is to know about climate change yet. But they do need to get up to speed soon. This generation will be dealing with the consequences of climate change more than any other. 78% of Americans agree that kids should learn about climate change. But won't that just terrify them?
Working with young people, I think there's enough just kind of in the zeitgeist that I think even really young children, I think, have a sense that there are some pretty pressing issues.
Talking to children about climate change will also help them develop a skill that we as a society are really not great at: how to deal with an existential crisis. That's what author Megan Herbert is trying to do with the Tantrum that Saved the World, the new children's book she wrote with climate scientist Michael Mann. Herbert wants to empower kids to do something productive about a big, scary phenomenon. And sometimes that's best accomplished by being very loud.
We're at the stage now where polite conversation and patient waiting for decision makers, we've got to the point where that's no longer tenable. If ever there was a time to scream and yell and say, enough, I can't process this, but I have to get your attention, it's now. And I thought, what better way to describe that than a tantrum?
Here's what happens in the book. A bunch of animals and climate refugees show up on the doorstep of a bewildered Sophia. She tries to figure out how to help them and realizes pretty quickly that no one listens to you when you just say, these people need help. So she throws a big tantrum and gets the attention of the public, who then join her in fun civic actions like petitioning City Hall. And it works. We went to read this book to some real live children to get their take on it.
What did Sophia do in the story to get people to do what she wanted?
She protested.
What was the part of the protest that worked best?
Saying what she wanted instead of just yelling for it and whining for it. She just yelled it out to the world.
Climate change, as many of us know pretty well by now, is not all about polar bears. But young kids really love polar bears, which Herbert and Mann definitely capitalize on. What kids love less are the dry facts of climate science. That can send plenty of people running. Those are covered in the second half of The Tantrum That Saved the World, which is meant for a slightly older audience. But we tried it out on these kids just to see if they'd bite.
Causing the lower part of Earth's atmosphere and surface to warm up.
They did not. So what did the kids think of The Tantrum That Saved the World? While they were pretty receptive to the story overall, there was some disagreement over whether a tantrum is the best way to actually get your point across.
I know it's a fictional story, but like she shouted out and then people that they wanted to make the world better doesn't really make sense.
Do you think that doesn't happen in real life?
Probably not, but maybe.
What do you think would be the best way to get people to do what she wanted in real life?
Maybe tell them or something instead of shout it out, because then that would be kind of weird.
Speaking up can be more understandable while throwing a tantrum. People can like see what you want, but you're not asking them in a polite way. So they're just kind of ignoring you.
And the final ratings were mixed, but pretty favorable. Which is really good news, because climate change education is a lifelong experience. And that's exactly what Megan Herbert and Michael Mann are trying to kick off with this book.
If you had to say one thing that you've learned from this book, what would it be?
That you should always help somebody, even if they try to kill you. You should still help them, because that's the right thing to do.
What would you guys do if the polar bear showed up at your house?
I would take all my furniture away and turn my heater down to like 0 degrees and let the polar bear crawl around on my floor.